Hello everyone. So today we shall be starting with the chapter number systems from the ninth class. So as you know, the numbers are going to be the heart of mathematics. So maths is all about manipulation of numbers. So that's why we need to know thoroughly about numbers. And you people have a brief introduction to numbers from your lower classes itself. So here, before actually going into the content of ninth class, what I will do is I will be revising a few basic things that will be needed in understanding the concepts better. So let us start. So before that, just let me discuss the things that we are going to discuss in this particular lesson. So we'll be having a quick revision of the topics whatever you people have learned in your lower classes. So as well as you'll be seeing a new set of numbers that you will be learning now, that is going to be irrational numbers and how to represent and how to identify the given irrational number, and many more like rational number, rationalizing the denominator and all. So without any delay, just let us get into the basic concepts now. So here you can see a flow chart. So in the beginning, it has been written real numbers. So that has been classified as rational numbers and irrational numbers. So for this time, we don't know what these numbers are. So let us come to this particular point later. But just let us go backwards. So we know 0 and we know what are natural numbers. So as a whole, what I will do, I will discuss a few things, then later I will come to this particular flowchart, then we will understand the things in a better way. So let me take you through this particular slide. So we know what are natural numbers. So numbers are basically the things we use for quantification. Quantify in the sense, it will tell you the quantity, that means how many are there, like how much the quantity is. So to begin with, to know about the numbers clearly, we need to know the classification of the numbers. So first of all, let us start with what are these particular natural numbers. So these are set of numbers, that means a collection of numbers which will be in the simplest form and they will start from 1. So they will end. So there won't be any end for these numbers, so they will proceed infinitely in the positive direction. And we represent these particular set of numbers with the capital letter N. So just what we will do, so we will represent these numbers with the set N. So here we need to remember one fact, that we won't include any decimal part or any fractional part while dealing with this particular set of natural numbers. Then, so here if you observe, so these are starting from 1. So here one thing is missing. What is that? That is 0. Now what we will do, we will be adding 0 for it. So then it will become a complete set of numbers. So that is what we call it as whole numbers. So basically whole numbers are nothing but all the natural numbers including 0. So here the basic difference between natural numbers and whole numbers is the fact that only 0 will be included in this particular set of number, nothing new. So then we are with 0 and we are with all positive numbers. So what else is missing? So that is nothing but our negative side. So here, so till now we are dealing with only the positive side of the number line. So what if we go to the negative side? So there you will be finding the numbers like -1, -2, -3, -4, and this will proceed infinitely in the negative direction. So here also we need to remember one thing, we are not including any decimal portion or any fractional part in such numbers. So these are what we call it as integers. So next let us come to what is a rational number. So in our 8th class, you are very well know, so we have discussed many facts related to this particular rational number. So the basic definition is going to be any number which we can write in the form of p by q such that p and q are going to be integers, and as we know in the denominator no number should be 0. So that's why we will be adding one more condition that q not equal to 0. So that is how you will be defining a rational number. So just let me take an example. So suppose if I have a number 2 by 3. So here we know 2 is an integer and 3 is also an integer. So that is why 2 by 3 as a whole is going to be a rational number. Let me take one more number. Let us say minus 4 by 5. So this is also going to be one more rational number. Why? Because this minus 4 is going to be an integer, as well as this 5 is also going to be an integer, and this 5 is not equal to 0, which is our denominator. So then you might be having a doubt. Suppose if my number is suppose simply 3, can I call this as a rational number? Yes, I can call so. Why? Because if nothing is there in the denominator, just I can assume 1. So now it will come to the form p by q, where our q will become 1. So remember, if nothing is there in the denominator, by default we can assume there is 1. So now it will just justify our definition for the rational number. So in place of p we have 3, in place of q we have 1, which is not equal to 0, and these 3 and 1 we have already seen they are going to be our integers. So that is why this particular 3 is going to be a rational number. So let me take one more example. Suppose if I have 0. Is 0 a rational number? Yes. So suppose 0 by 1 I can assume. So, and remember one thing, so 1 by 0 is not defined. Why? Because in the denominator we are not supposed to have 0. But in this case 0 is very well, we can say it to be a rational number. Why? Because 0, it is an integer set, this is also an integer set. So p and this is going to be your q, and your q is not equal to 0, which will satisfy the definition of rational numbers. Okay, let me summarize the things that we have seen till now. So just we have a number line. Let us say we have a number line. So let us, this is going to be our number line. So let us start with the 0 and we'll count 1, 2, 3. So remember, we are not taking any part in between these two numbers. That means we are not arriving at any fractions or decimals. So this is our positive side. So just if I take from this to this region, we call it as set of natural numbers. So 1, 2, 3 and all. So for this, suppose if I include 0 also, you will be getting your whole numbers. So this will become your natural numbers, whereas this is going to be your whole numbers. Now what if I go towards this left hand side by taking -1, -2 and so on. So these things will come under your integers. So these are going to be your integers. Now we need to know the interrelation between these things. Now let us have a question. Suppose if I am given with a natural number and I am asked to say whether every natural number is going to be a rational number or not. Just think about it. Will it be or not? Yes, it will be. Why? Because suppose if you take any natural number, let us say 1, 2, 3 and so on. For any natural number, just we can assume by default in the denominator there is 1, and this will satisfy the definition of our rational number, where it has to be in the form of p by q and q not equal to 0, and p and q should be individually integers. So is it satisfying or not? Yes. So every natural number is going to be a rational number. So will it be true for whole numbers also? Yes. Every whole number is going to be a rational number, and every integer is also going to be under our rational numbers. Let us now observe a Venn diagram which will make you understand the different kinds of numbers that we have dealt till now. Suppose we assume a big set of numbers. Okay, so here just I wrote real numbers. So let us come to it later. Just let us confine ourselves to this particular region. So we have seen what are natural numbers, so which are nothing but all the countable numbers, and for that just you drop 0 for that, it will become your whole number. And for this whole numbers you go to the negative side, you will be coming across your integers, and for this integers just whatever it is left is going to be your fractions and decimals. You add them up, just you will be getting your rational numbers. So if you assume, so these are the things. So till now just we have seen this part, so we are left with this irrational numbers, then we'll confine together this particular region, and let us see what are these real numbers, and let us see if these are real numbers, is there any set of numbers other than these real numbers in our mass is concerned. So just before that, let me quickly take you to the basic things, just that is going to be factors and multiples. So for this, so factor, that means if you take any number and suppose let us consider, and this particular 3, this 3 will divide this 12, so that is why this 3 is said to be the factor of 12, and this 5 is going to divide this 25 without any remainder. So that is going to be, this 5 is going to be the factor for this particular 25. And there is a term multiple. Multiple means, suppose 2 into something will give you 36 or not? Yes. 3 into 30 something will give you 36. So this 36 can be written as the product of some number into these particular numbers. So that is why these numbers are known to be the multiples of 36. 36 is going to be a multiple of these particular numbers. And we have even numbers and odd numbers. So all the numbers which are multiples of 2, we say it to be an even number. So if it is not a multiple of 2, what we call it as? We will call it as an odd number. So for example here see 2, 4, 6, 8 are even numbers, and 3, 5, 9 and so on are going to be odd numbers. So one more classification, prime number and the composite number. So here remember one thing, this prime or composite, we define it for natural numbers only. So let me tell you the exact definition of each of these numbers. So we have factors. Suppose if there is any number as such which is having exactly 2 factors. Why exactly 2 factors? Because one will be dividing every other number and every number will divide itself. That means minimum there will be 2 factors for any given number. So that is why prime number is such number where the number of factors are going to be exactly 2, and if the number of factors is more than 2, then that is what we call it as composite number. But here just the question arises, what about 1? So 1 is such a number which is neither composite and which is nor prime. Why? Because 1 will be having only one factor which is nothing but 1 only. But to call it as a prime number we need to have 2, and to call it as composite we need to have more than 2. So this one is neither satisfying the condition for the prime number nor it satisfies the condition for the composite number. So that is why 1 is a peculiar number which is neither prime nor composite. And I told you this will be defined only for natural numbers. Why? Why? Because see the case. Take -2. So what are the factors for this particular -2? Let us see. 2 will divide it definitely. -2 will divide it, and as well as 1 will divide it. How many factors is having? So this will be having 3 factors. Can you say this -2 as a prime then? No. So that is the reason why just we will confine the prime and the composite terminology only to the natural numbers. So here we need to just keep in mind 1 is such a number which is neither prime and nor composite. So most of the times, so we will be coming across one more term which is known as absolute value or the modulus. So to understand it in simple manner, suppose you take any number, let me take 3. So if I am asking you what is the absolute value of 3, it is going to be 3. Suppose if I ask you what is the absolute value for minus 3, then also the answer is going to be 3. Simply this particular thing, this modulus will return a positive value always. For example, if you take modulus of minus 5, so what it will return? So whenever you keep this minus 5 inside this, so this is the symbol we use it for modulus. It is also known as absolute value. So this will return a positive value. So this will be 5. So what is the modulus of 5 then? So it is going to be 5. Why? Because anyhow it is positive only. That means it is capable of making a negative number to positive. What if it is 0? Modulus of 0 is going to be 0 only. That means if it is 0, the modulus value is going to be 0. If it is negative, just take this negative sign out and just you write the number with the positive sign. So whether the sign is mentioned or not, by default we assume it is to be positive. And if it is there for a positive number, the number itself is going to be the number. So that is why, so just try to keep in mind this absolute value, or we also call it as modulus. So now let us see an important set of numbers, that is what we call irrational numbers. So as the name suggests, irrational means they are not rational. So as we know from the definition of rational number, so what we have seen, just a rational number is such a number which can be written in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are going. So irrational numbers, they cannot be written in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are going to be integers. So let me take some examples for that. For example, just if you consider root 3. So as I told you, we can assume 1. So it is in the form of P by Q. But my question is root 3 an integer? Will you find it in the set of integers that we have discussed above? No. So it can be written in the form of P by Q, but here this P, which is root 3, is not an integer. So that is why this root 3 is going to be an irrational number, and likewise root 2, root 15 and all these numbers will be irrational. But let me take root 4. Will it be an irrational number? No. Why? Because square root of 4 is going to be plus or minus 2. Okay. Why? Because when you square plus 2 you will be getting 4, or when you square this minus 2 also you will be getting 4. So that is why you will write it as plus or minus 2. So in either of the form, this 4 can be written as 2 by 1. Root 4 can be written as 2 by 1 or minus 2 by 1. So suppose if I ask you what is root 9, so root 9 is also going to be plus or minus root 3. So plus or minus 3, so 3 by 1 or minus 3 by 1. So in this case it will fit into the definition of rational number. But these values, this pi, so the most of the confusion will be with this particular pi. So in geometry, just we will use it to be 22 by 7. But remember, this 22 by 7 P by Q form, and this 22 by 7 is going to be a rational number. But this pi is irrational. These two are not equal, but approximately we consider them to be equal for the simplification purpose, but not exact values will be equal. And if you take 0.0110, like, so these patterns and all, so we will come to this particular irrational numbers when we discuss the decimal expansion of the numbers in detail. So we'll better understand these things in detail when we come to the decimal expansion of the things later. Now let us see the first slide or the first classification that I have shown you in the beginning of the class. So just have a look at it. So we have natural numbers, we have included 0 for that, just we are here at whole numbers. For these whole numbers we have taken the negative part also, that makes our integers. Then for that integers what we have done, so here everything is there except the decimals and fractions. So just we have included that also, that will complete our rational numbers. So rational numbers are going to be of p by q form, where p and q are going to be integers and q not equal to 0. And we have seen there is one more set of numbers which we cannot write in the form of p by q, such that p and q are equal to, both will be integers. So such as root 2, root 3, and we have taken one more example of pi. So these will be irrational numbers, and these two numbers, this set of two numbers, we call it as real numbers. So this term is very important. Why we are calling them as real? Why? Because just let me just if you take the number line, whatever the numbers we have discussed till now, we can identify them on the real number line. So that is the reason we consider them to be real. Now here the question can be, if they are real numbers, is there any set of numbers which are not real and which we cannot identify on the number line? So the answer is yes. There is one more set of numbers which we call them as complex numbers. Let me take an example for that, which we won't be finding on the number line. Let me take square root of minus 1. So you have been continuously told that the square root won't be defined for a negative number, but in this case just we will be having the negative square roots also. So these numbers will form a complete set of new numbers which we call them as complex or imaginary numbers. So they are complex in nature. That means we won't be finding them on the real number line. So just we need one more kind of number line to locate this particular set of complex numbers, that is complex plane, that we need to have for locating these particular numbers. But these things just you will be having in our higher classes. Let us confine our discussion to real numbers only. So numbers, basically we have seen them to be real, and there are some set of numbers which are not real. We are calling them as imaginary numbers. Square root of minus 1, 2 plus I. So this I we call it as iota. So this I we call them as call it as iota. We consider square root of minus 1 to be iota. So this is nothing but a complex algebra. So we are not going in detail, but remember one thing, there is one more set of numbers which we won't include in the set of our we won't include in the set of real numbers. So just this real number classification just I have explained. So here just if you see the things here, so these two things will become our real numbers. So I hope the classification of numbers is clear to you. Just let me take you through one more slide, just where now see this part. So just what I have done, so this form of representation we call it as set representation. So here what I have taken a big set of numbers, so just I am taking to be real numbers. So now see, all natural numbers they are lying inside whole number set. All whole numbers and natural numbers, so they are together, they will lie in the set of integers, and this set of integers will be lying inside rational numbers. And just I have divided into two parts, so that other part is going to be your irrational numbers. So these rational numbers and these irrational numbers will form our real numbers. If I want to take the numbers, just I have to include one more set, just what I have told you, that is going to be our complex numbers. So real numbers plus complex numbers will be in our numbers. So we are not dealing with the complex part now, but it will confine our discussion to this set of real numbers now. So from the diagram itself we can tell, just let us check. So every natural number is a rational number. Is it true or not? Yes. Why? Because this entire set of natural numbers will be entirely inside this rational part. So just remember this Venn diagram, it will be very useful to answer such questions. Suppose if I say every integer is going to be a rational number. Yes, see here, all integers, they are lying inside rational numbers, so my statement is going to be true. But if I say every whole number is a natural number, is my statement true? No. Why? Because you can see this region, where this region is not lying inside this natural numbers. So my converse statements need not to be true. Okay, every natural number is going to be whole number, but every whole number may not be a natural number. That is what we need to remember in this particular classification. So just remember this particular Venn diagram. So this kind of representation we call it as Venn diagram. So just remember, this is set, that means collection of all natural numbers. This is one more set, that is collection of all whole numbers. This is one more set, collection of all integers. And remember, just I have written some letters here, they will be useful. So these natural numbers we denote with the capital letter N. The whole numbers we can use W or N naught. Why? Because the only difference is going to be 0 here. Just we can add it as suffix and we can write it as N naught or W. And integers we represent it as Z, and rational numbers we use the letter capital R, and for the real numbers we use the letter capital R. Okay. Now let us see how to find the numbers between two given numbers. Now we very well know in our lower classes that there will exist infinite number of numbers between any given two numbers. For example, if you take 2 and 3, so it seems to be very simple, they are very consecutive. So but if you see, there will be 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 and so on between these two. If you want to just magnify it, so this is what we call magnification, we will come to it later. We will be finding 2.11, 2.12, 2.13 as such. So we can also see 2.15. So we can find many numbers between the given two numbers. So how to find these numbers if the numbers are fractions or if the numbers are in the pure rational form? For example, so we'll be using two methods. So one method is going to be mean or average method, and one more method we call it as we make the denominator equal and we will find the requisite number of numbers. Let us start with the mean or average method. Let us take an example. We need to find 6 rational numbers between 3 and 4. So let us solve this particular question with the help of the two methods. So the first method is going to be our mean or average method. So we very well know that if you take two numbers, let us say 1, 2. What is the meaning of average? Sum of these two numbers by the number of numbers. So how many numbers are here in this case? There are two numbers. So average is going to be 1 plus 2 by 2. So what is 1 plus 2? That is 3 by 2, which is 1.5. Now tell me, so this number will be perfectly in between, exactly in the middle of these two numbers. That means if you take the average of these two, it will lie exactly here. And if you take these two into consideration, just you'll be having a number here. So based upon this principle, just we can find any number of numbers between the given two numbers. For example, if here the question is about 3 and 4, here what is just here you'll be having your 3 and here you'll be having your 4. First you will take the average of these two. So what is the average here? 3 plus 4, which is your 7. By how many numbers are here? 2 numbers. So if the 3 numbers are there, we have to take 3 here, but we are dealing with only 2 numbers, so in the denominator we have to take only 2. So what is 4 plus 3? It is 7. 7 by 2. What is 7 by 2? Which is 3.5. Okay, so this is so we can just let it be 7 by 2 only, no problem, or you can write it as 3.5 also. So you will be having 7 by 2 as one number here. Now what if you proceed in the same manner with this 3 and 7 by 2? So just here, if we see the solution here, so here 7 by 2 is the number. So 7 by 2, just we can add this 3 and 7 by 2 by 2. You'll be having a number here, and 7 by 2 plus 4 by 2 will be having a number here. So in this way, just we can proceed. Now after getting this number here, what we can do, just we can find a number here by taking these two into consideration, and a number here by taking these two into consideration. So like that we can proceed indefinitely depending upon the numbers that have been asked. So after doing, just you'll be getting so these numbers just as your answer. Just we can check it out by doing the same way that we have done earlier. So let us solve the same question using one more approach. So that is going to be our second method, making the denominator part equal. So let me clear the screen. So here the second part, what we will do, how many numbers we are asked for, that is what we have to see. So we have been asked for how many numbers? 6 numbers. So what we will do, just see here, our numbers are 3 and 4. Now see the denominator part. The denominator is 1. Here also the denominator is 1. So in this method, as a first step, we have to make the denominators equal. So here already our denominators are equal. Now just see the number of numbers we have been asked for. We are asked to find how many numbers? 6 numbers. So obviously what we will do, just to multiply both the numbers with the one number more than it has been asked for. Here that I will multiply with the 7 by 7. Why? Because when you multiply the numerator and denominator, the value won't be changed. Why? Because here the multiplication is carried out with the same number here. So here also for this one, 7 by 7. So this will come to be 21 by 7, and this will become your 28 by 7. So in between you can find 22 by 7, 23 by 7, so as such. So this is going to be the number of numbers. But what if the denominators are not equal in the first step itself? Let me take an example. Suppose if our numbers are, let us say, 3 by 4 and one more number, let me take it as 1 by 3. So if you see these two numbers, so we can use the mean method also, but I am telling you how to find the same using our average or mean method. Here my denominator is 4, here the denominator is 3. How to make them equal? Just to take the LCM of 3 and 4. So in this case, these two numbers are relatively prime or co-prime. What does that mean? That means there is no common factor other than 1 for these two numbers. In that case, product of these two will be their LCM. So LCM in this case is going to be 3 into 4. So what is 3 into 4? It is going to be 12. That means we need to just make the denominator as 12. For doing so, this 4 must be multiplied with the 3. So in order to not change the value, the numerator also should be multiplied with 3. Here the multiplication should be carried out with the 4. So in this case, what it will become? 3 into 3, it is 9, by it is 12, 9 by 12, and this is 4 by 12. Now see, this is 4 by 12 and this is 9 by 12. In between, you'll be having 5 by 12, 6 by 12, 7 by 12 and 8 by 12. What if they ask you more number of numbers? Then what you will do? Just the thing is very simple. So already my denominator is going to be same here. So that is why multiply with any number. So probably they ask you for 6 numbers. So multiply with the 7 by 7 and here also 7 by 7. So when you multiply the numerator and denominator with the same number, the value is not going to be changed. So that is the reason why I am carrying out this particular multiplication here. So here in this case 9 into it is going to be 63 by it is going to be 84, and this is also 84, and it is 4 into 7 is 28. So just we can find 29 by 84, 30 by 84, like so as many numbers you want, just we can calculate it from this particular 2 numbers. So this is the way we can find any number of numbers between the given 2 numbers. Let us stop here and let us discuss the remaining concepts as such, the decimal representation of the numbers and their location on the number line in the next class. So thank you all. Have a great day.